Okay, guys, I am super excited to welcome back to the show the fantastic Jessica Jones, aka the Cryptid Huntress. How are you?
Hey, Tommy, I'm awesome. I'm doing great.
I'm
I've just been really
excited to have
busy.
you back. Yeah, for
Thank
sure.
you.
I was recently on
Thank
your
you.
show. As we're filming this, it was a couple of days ago, and that was really fun.
Yeah, thank you for being my guest. That was awesome. We got to hear about some cryptids in the UK, and you taught me about a cryptid here in the US, and I taught you about one there. Okay,
Yes.
so that was funny.
How did that work out? Well, that's cool.
I don't know. That was interesting. I know, right?
Yeah. So head over
So,
to there,
but
guys, and you can listen to that on your channel. I'll share the links on
yeah.
the show description so people can find that as well.
Oh yeah, that was on Spaced Out Radio. So you can find that. Oh, you can find it on my playlist on my channel, but it airs live on Spaced Out Radio. I've got a show there every Saturday and Sunday night. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
it's
fun.
awesome what you do. I've got to say, because obviously this is not live. You do it live, it's a different ball game. It is pressure.
Oh my God,
So
it is
fair play
just a
to
little bit. Yeah,
you.
right,
Fair
right.
play to you. So
It's
how you
fun.
been? Have you had any paranormal activity since you was last on Let's Get Freaky?
Oh man, I don't know if I've had any activity or I haven't. I can't remember if I've been anywhere researching since then. But I am going somewhere, and I know. Listen, I don't ever give my plans away before I go, but you're not airing this until after I get back, okay, from
Yeah,
this trip. So we can talk about it today because I'm
awesome.
actually leaving. I'm leaving late tomorrow night to go, or actually, it's in the wee morning hours to go to New York, and I'm going to actually be there for the anniversary of a big energy burst where potentially the USS Eldridge is going to reappear from that Philadelphia experiment. So I'm going to be there on the
Interesting.
beat on that day. Yeah.
Wow.
I know, right?
For the listeners that might
So,
not know what that is, can you explain to us what that is?
yes, absolutely. Well, the USS Eldridge it was like a battleship, a warship with the U.S. Navy. And back in I think it was 1940, what was it? 19, maybe it was 1962. 1962, the USS Eldridge, um, it was part of, okay, this is like a secret program. I don't think our government admits to this, okay? But there was a program where they were going to teleport. They were actually trying to make the ship invisible, okay? And in the process, they were going to teleport it from one dock to the other, okay, into like another port. And in the process, I guess it was like a portal that opened, like an energy burst. Okay. And these energy bursts, they happen every 20 years, allegedly. Right. And I'm just finding out about all of this because I didn't know anything about it for the most part. I even have some notes right here. I wrote some notes down because I'm so kind of new to this, but it's just
Interesting.
fascinating to me. And so um, in 1943, 1963, 1983, 2003, 2023, there's something called a biocamp that generates a burst of magnetic energies. And that's what they were, I guess that's what they were kind of utilizing to send that ship through to teleport, right? But it had all these soldiers on it, and it was successful in the fact that it disappeared. But when it reappeared, those soldiers were melded into the ship. Their bodies were stuck inside the metal of the ship. And there happened to be, allegedly, I think there were at least three men, maybe more, that jumped off the side of the ship as it was teleporting. Like they jumped off. And let's see. I have it written down. Okay, so I'll read this from my notes, okay? This is, like I said, it's new to me. Two sailors, the Duncan brothers and Edward Cameron, jumped off the ship into the sea at the time and swam to the beach, meeting they all met together, and they had time leaped into 1983. Al Balick, okay, so there's a person named Al Balick who wrote a book called The Philadelphia Experiment and Other UFO Conspiracies back in 1990. He claims to be Edward, one of these sailors who didn't return to his time in 1943. This guy, I guess he's living today, but he wrote a book back in 1990. Um,
Interesting.
so maybe he'll be there next this Saturday. We're going on Saturday. Actually, it's every August 12th, I believe. And so that's when we're going. I'm going to be there. I'm leaving this week, and maybe I'll be able to meet this Alex guy there.
Yeah, that would
Or
be
Alex.
amazing. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really weird, right? And they've made movies and documentaries about this. And it's so odd because they show the men like melded into the ship. My son says it's like on Star Wars where Han Solo, I think, gets melded into that whatever that was, that metal, or a rock.
Wow.
It's kind of like that. I mean, they're like their arms and their legs and their heads were hanging out of the ship, like inside, made into the ship. So there was some kind of weird like overlapping of like like dimensions, I guess, and like masses, and I don't know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And this happened
absolutely.
in 1940.
Well, I thought it was 1963.
Oh, 1963.
Well,
Sorry.
I don't know. Maybe it was 1943. I don't know. See, like I'm saying, I'm just learning about all this stuff, so I don't even know.
Well,
Yeah, it was 1943. That's right.
1943. Wow.
Yes.
I mean, I have seen documentaries about. I don't know a lot about it, but I have seen documentaries about it, and that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll let you know how it goes. Listen,
Yeah.
if for whatever reason I get sucked into this portal, at least you're talking to me right now. And if I'm gone, I talk about portals all the time. Just know, I just hope I'm not melded into a ship somewhere. Okay.
No, for sure. We don't want that.
We'll do an update. So, hopefully I'm in like a chat right now, or I can talk to people about this, or whatever.
Are you going? Are you going on a boat?
We actually have rented a big gigantic house. We've got a couple of houses that we've rented. I'm going with a big group of people, and there's like 23 or 25 of us going, and it's people from all over the world, and most of them believe that they were part of the Montauk project. Okay, they have memories of being part of the Montauk project, such as like James Rink, who is they call them super soldiers. With the secret space program. And so I'm going to be hanging out with a bunch of those folks this week.
Yeah. Oh, man. Is there room for one more? Yeah. I can make it.
Yeah, come on.
I would love to,
Get
man.
Your beast, man. Get over there.
Amazing. So for the listeners that might not know the Montauk project, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, okay. For anyone who's familiar with like Netflix and that show Stranger Things, that's what Stranger Things is based off of. They were actually originally going to call that show the Montauk Project, I believe. And they had to, that got pulled. They couldn't do it. So they named it Stranger Things. It's a program, a clandestine secret program, basically, I believe, of the US government, where it was a lot of kids. I think they were kidnapping kids, and they were using children, and even like the children of people who had been in other projects with the military and the government, and they were doing mind control experiments on them. Okay, it was very like horrible stuff. It was not nice, like basically torturing people and children. If you watch Stranger Things, you'll see that 11 on there, she was one of those children that was, from what I remember, I think her mother had been using she was on LSD or something, and when she conceived, and those are the kind of experiments they were doing. Okay, and so she was born with like extraordinary telekinesis and psychic abilities and things like that, being able to crush Coca-Cola cans with her mind, and basically, like if you've watched the Men Who Stare at Goats, that movie, I do remote viewing, and so part of that remote viewing training for the soldiers back in the day, they could like try to make goats pass out with their minds. However, from what I was told, they weren't making them pass out; they were actually killing them. Okay, so they were making their heart stop. Yeah, so
with their minds, it's crazy.
With their mind, yeah, with your energy, yeah. You apparently you can do stuff like that. I've never done it,
man. That's scary.
Yeah,
wow.
It's actually kind of amazing at the same time, because we have such an ability to use our enhanced human capabilities, and people, it's like a superpower, and we're just not tapped into it like we could be.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
for
a lot
sure.
of us are tapped in, but a lot of us are not at the same
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind
So
of good in a way if killing people with your mind. I mean, that's dangerous.
horrible. That's horrible.
But it's like because we only use, like they say, we only use 10% of our brains or whatever it is, and it just goes to show you if you get another 10%, like what could you do?
Yeah. You can pretty much do anything. I think,
Interesting.
you know, one of my favorite movies, and some people I swear the majority of people I talked to hated this movie, but I thought it was brilliant. And it was called Lucy. Okay. And it was, have you ever seen that? It's
I've
like,
seen like bits of it, and I know what it's about. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, they're able to tap into like 100% of their brain or something.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just, it's literally mind blowing, right?
And yeah. And she can
But
fly and things like that. Is that right? And she
yeah,
can move things with her
she
mind. And
becomes she becomes one with everything, you know.
yeah.
I don't know. I think that's just our potential as humans. We could potentially do that,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we
Okay.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not yet.
not yet.
So
I know.
with the
We're
Montauk
working on it.
project, I hope I pronounced it right there.
Yeah,
It's you're meeting people that were on that project on Saturday.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Actually, I'm spending a week with all of them. Yeah,
Oh
um,
wow.
yeah. I'm friends with several of them, and there's people that are traveling from all over the world. We have people coming from Europe actually to stay with us as well, and they have memories of being part of these projects. Also, I have a friend named Brian. He has a really awesome YouTube channel called Montauk is Strange. He lives at Montauk in New York. And he and my friend Mike, who has a YouTube channel called Long Island Bigfoot, they're meeting us there too. And so I'm going to be going Bigfooting with them,
Oh,
and we're
awesome.
going to be going out in the woods while we're there. And but they actually go to Montauk. There is a Sasquatch there that was part of the Montauk project. The
Interesting.
Sasquatch was basically created to destroy what was left of Montauk after the project was over, from what I've been told. And
Wow.
I think Junior, they call him Junior, and he's still there to this day. And so the guys that I'm going with have actually encountered Junior out there and have pictures of
Wow.
him. Yeah.
Oh man, I'd love
So
to see that.
I know.
Wow. So Junior
Yeah.
had to destroy any evidence remaining, the building and everything, I guess.
Well, there's still like buildings. I think it was a lot of the equipment they were using and things like that. They had some kind of chair. They call it the Montauk chair. And it's something that everybody who ever went there remembers being in. And it's almost like a dentist chair. A lot of the kids
Okay.
thought they were staying in a dentist chair. I don't know if it wipes your mind or like your memories. I'm not exactly sure what it was. I think it was there's not very pleasant memories of this chair though. Okay,
Yeah.
stuff like that, like the tapes. Mike told me, one of the guys that we're meeting up there, he said that they found a big stack of old school like tape recordings or whatever. It was like film and tape and stuff, and they went and had to analyze to find out what was on there, and it was torture music.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Oh
if
yeah.
anyone that's seen Stranger Things and the things they do in that as well, that's bad
Yeah.
enough. But I mean, that sounds
Yeah.
terrifying.
This was real life, and there's no telling like how many dead bodies are buried on the property. And
Yeah.
I actually, from what I've gathered from the guys that go there pretty often, like Brian, who is there, he explores it. He and his wife, on their YouTube channel, Montauk is Strange, they explore the entire area. They've been doing it for years. I mean, they've been chased out by the security guards. He actually has a lot of documentation
Oh, wow.
of from people who work there in the town, because I mean the half the town worked there. Okay, and so he has a lot of, like I said, like documentation and stuff of some of the things that were going on there. So they believe that there still is an underground facility there that is active to this day.
Interesting. So the whole
Yeah.
the whole town is in on it basically, or a lot of them are.
Well, you know what? Okay, so this is another interesting thing. So we've been getting prepared for our trip and making plans and calling museums. Like we're going to be visiting the Tesla Museum. They have a Tesla museum there.
Oh
Okay,
wow. Yeah.
and so we're going to that. And they, from the people who are just like everyday people on the streets, they don't even know about any of this stuff. The Montauk is called Camp. It's called Camp Hero. Camp Hero is where they did a lot of the experiments, and that's they've got this huge like radar tower there, and I don't know. I think that they've tried to hide it from the public, from like the general public, and it's a very, let's say, like upper class type place, where people go. It's like the Hamptons are up there, places like I believe like the Obamas have a home there and stuff. It's like it's a place where the rich people go to kind of vacation, from what I understand. Yeah.
I mean that's even quite an interesting spin it as well, that you've got the rich elites there as well.
Yeah.
We know what we think of some of them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Exactly.
And it's interesting that it's still guarded. You said there's still people there protecting it.
Yeah, Camp Hero. Yeah. Okay, so Camp Hero is heavily guarded, from what I understand. Now the surrounding area, it's like a park. I think it's a park, maybe like a national park or something. I'm not sure, but it's like thousands of acres, or at least hundreds of acres. And that's where Mike has encountered Junior. I had Mike on my show a while back, and he brought Mike and Brian together, and we showed pictures of Junior when he was interacting with Junior. Yeah.
I've got to check that out. Wow.
Yeah.
What did Junior look like? Was he your standard Sasquatch, or?
He was squatting down behind something. He looked just like a hairy person. Yeah. He looked like a Sasquatch. Yeah.
Wow.
There's probably a lot of Sasquatch out there though, because it's heavily wooded around the area. And and not a lot of people go out there apparently, because there's so much land, and people who know about it don't want to get in trouble. Probably. Yeah. See, like we're going out there, and thank goodness you're not airing this until after I'm back. Okay. Yeah. we're planning on spending some time out there.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. You let me know when I can air this. I won't air this before you're happy for me.
You can hear it. Hey, listen, I'll be back. I'll be back next week. Okay. Like by Wednesday, I'll be back. Okay.
I hope so. you gotta be careful. Yeah. If I don't hear anything, I'm gonna worry.
Oh my gosh. I'll be posting. I'll probably be posting videos and doing interviews the whole time I'm there. So
cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
It'll be cool.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So I mean that's I would love to go there. Obviously it's got to be a scary place, but I'd love to go there and see and get the vibe and all that.
Yeah, me too. And honestly, I'm really curious about like what these biocamps are. I've never heard of a planetary biocamp. It's got to be like a burst of energy for a big portal to open, I guess. So I'm going to be doing more research before I go on this stuff.
Interesting.
There's also okay. So I just found out today. I talked to my buddy James on the phone. He told me that there is a Montauk monster in a lake. It's called the Montauk Lake Monster. Okay. And we're planning to go there and to make an offering kind of to apparently this thing. Okay. So the story goes, this Montauk Lake Monster, which is in the lake around the area, it is, I don't know if it's like guarding a portal underneath the lake, or it's doing something there. It's guarding the place, or it's just there. And anyone who is involved in the Montauk project, if they put 1 foot in the water, it will grab them and take them under and drown them.
Wow.
Yeah. I know, right?
What sort of creature? Is it like a Nessie type creature, or is it something different?
It must. I don't know what it is. That's a great question. I'm going to find out. I'm not sticking my foot in the water.
No, for sure. No, I don't blame you.
I don't think I was part of any of those programs, but I'm definitely not sticking a toe in that water.
No, for sure.
No, definitely not. So we're taking like an offering. I think James said salt or something. I forgot what he said. So maybe it's a slug, and maybe it'll eat the salt and it'll shrivel up.
Yeah,
just kidding.
So the Montauk project, I mean, this might be a silly question as well, but because I know the government don't own up to a lot of things, but is there any has anyone ever come out and sort of backed it up, what happened, or government wise, or have they ever owned up to anything to do with it?
There's some declassified documents, I believe, that would point to it being real. Yeah, I think so. I I don't have any of that information sitting here in front of me right now, but I do know people who have 100%, they swear they were part of the programs and they can back it up. And I do know also that my friend Brian has some pretty serious documentation of the things that were going on there. So yeah, and they wouldn't have made that movie with like, or that show called Stranger Things with it was kind of like soft disclosure. I mean, they're talking about parallel universes. Okay, they're talking about time travel because it's all about teleportation, time travel, remote viewing, mostly mind control. Okay, and it was mostly mind control experiments, and that was using drugs and stuff, and it was doing psychokinetic experiments and things like that. So
Yeah.
I think the time travel is a big one. That's a big one, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there are people even today claiming to be time travelers
Yeah.
that
I
are
find it
walking
so
today.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you spoken to anyone that's claimed to be a time traveler?
I have not. Well, I mean, okay. So here's another thing, right? So I told you, I do remote viewing. That's a form of time travel in a way. Okay, in a very strange way. Okay. I have never met, well, yes, I have met someone actually that claims to be a time traveler, and that is my friend Jimmy Payne. That's not his real name. They called him Dallas, and he says that a lot of these movies are based on him and the things that he did during the programs he worked at, including Project Pegasus. Okay, when he said when he was a little boy, he was part of Project Pegasus. Now, are you familiar with what that is?
I'm not. Would you be able to share what that is?
Okay. Yes. So Project Pegasus was a time traveling, it wasn't even an experiment, it was a project. And it was where they were taking little boys back in, I think it was like the 1960s, and they were sending them back in time to communicate with our president. Okay. And they went all the way back to George Washington, I believe. But they were there the night that Lincoln was assassinated. President Lincoln was assassinated in the theater when John Wilkes Booth allegedly killed him. Okay, and it's basically a program where they were sending little boys. They were doing it with little children. Okay,
Yeah.
and I don't know if they just travel better or through these portals and these jump rooms. Because you may hear about jump rooms. I've heard that like they're the Hilton hotels all over the world. They build these hotels on top of stargates or places of portals or power, right? And they have certain rooms where you can go in there and it transports you off into another dimension, another planet. So they were sending the little boys back. Yeah, well, from what Jimmy said was that no one would ever suspect a child of doing anything weird, right? As far as like presidents being assassinated. Okay. Apparently they were part of when Kennedy was shot as well, President Kennedy here in the US.
Oh.
So they go back and they send messages. They send these children back, and it has a lot to do with Project Looking Glass as well, with that time, the Looking Glass technology, if you're familiar with that. Like the Vatican, for instance, has what they call the chronovisor. Okay. Allegedly. And this chronovisor is something, it's like a device where they can see, it's like a computer screen where they can see back into the past and I guess into the future too. So
wow. And they said that they've got that in the Vatican.
Yes, in the Vatican. Yeah. They have a at least one.
Interesting.
They do. Okay, so what they were doing is they were sending these little boys back in time to the Lincoln Theater. Okay, this is one of the stories that Jimmy told us, and I'd already heard about this before, and I had a lot of questions for Jimmy when I talked to him. He said that they were sending them back on different timelines. This blows my mind. It'll probably blow your mind. So they were sending them, each boy went back on a different timeline. And on each timeline in that theater, Lincoln was shot and killed every time. But it was a different person who shot him on different times. It was like 40% of the time it was John Wilkes Booth that shot him, and like 10% of the time it was somebody else, and then another percentage of the time it was his wife. Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a crazy story. There's a lot more to it. Okay.
Wow.
But that's just the gist of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so and that's how they determine like what timeline to be on. Because we got this Mandela effect. I mean, when you start thinking about all this stuff just kind of melds together, literally.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
for
like
sure.
with that ship with the men melded in it, it's
Yeah.
like it all just kind of starts melding together, like time travel, the Project Pegasus, Project Looking Glass. I don't know.
It's
Um,
so interesting because I mean, I've spoken to people that say we've got um, other dimensions alongside ours, which is pretty much the same. There might not be a lot different, but there's just that slightest bit different. It's so interesting. It makes your mind go boom when you think about it.
yeah. Well, and it also makes you wonder, like, who's in charge? Like, who's the person that decides which timeline they're going to put us on? Like,
Yeah,
is it for the betterment of humanity, or is it for an agenda of the elite who have a more sinister future plan for us?
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
because from what Jimmy's told us is that we're on a very corrupted timeline right now. We're not supposed to be on this timeline that we're on.
yeah.
The world has
I
gone
mean,
crazy.
that would make sense. Yeah, for where we are right
Yeah,
now. I mean,
yeah,
I've said that I've spoken about this before. It does feel like everything feels different at the moment. I know we're sort of getting back to normality ish a little bit. It's still not 100%, nowhere near, but it did go very crazy for a while. It does
yeah,
feel like time is just, it doesn't feel the same as it did, I would say, 10 years ago. I don't know if that makes sense, but it definitely
yeah.
feels different.
Yeah, it's because we're on a corrupted timeline, and it's almost like people have been activated too. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with the star seeds and light workers and the people that are here to like help shift the world into another dimension, basically, and to raise the vibration of the earth and the planet, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think there's a kind of a battle going on right now or something.
Yeah,
It's
for
almost like
sure.
a spiritual battle
Yes.
of
Yeah.
I don't want to say good versus evil because it's more like light versus dark, I guess,
Yeah.
because good and evil is like relative. I don't know. There's always a duality to everything,
Yeah.
but it's the light forces and the dark forces just coming to a head right now and like
Yeah.
fighting to like get the world like up, like I
Yeah.
mean, I know I'm personally trying my best
For sure.
to spread my love and light, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, for
So,
sure.
um,
I totally agree. I feel like there's a spiritual battle going on at the moment.
yeah,
100%. It's
totally.
everything's yeah, it like you were saying before, I think we're all a lot more special than the elites want us to think we are. And I feel like we are pushed down, dumbed down, divide and conquer. Everyone's arguing over silly things, get us arguing about and the real we could all be higher, if that makes sense. That's
Yeah,
how I feel as well.
we can. We have to understand the potential of like where we can really go and like who we can be and who we are. And it's also a matter of remembering who we are because we're not just like here to be slaves. And a lot of people say, well, we're just here to be slaves. This is a prison planet. Well, yeah, we're under like a really weird energy of like, yeah, we do have birth certificates here and we are slaves to the system in some way, but we don't have to be. We don't have to be. It's all a mindset kind of.
Yeah,
Oh
for
man, I know
sure.
that sounds weird, but it is a
No,
mindset.
yeah, for sure. For
So
sure.
yeah, I mean,
We could
I know if this Earth is really separating into like dimensions, like the fifth and higher densities, and then like the third density is like going down, like staying here. I don't want to be stuck in that third density.
yeah, no, for sure.
I don't want to be part of this 3D world. So I'm exploring everything I can. I'm learning. I'm taking everything in and trying to stay positive. My goodness, we
Yeah.
have so much working against us right now. We really do.
100%,
Uh,
100%. It's a lot harder to
yeah.
be positive in this world, but I agree with you. You have to focus on the positives because if you
Yeah,
focus on what you focus on is what you are, basically.
that's
I think.
right. Yeah,
It's,
absolutely. So I keep my butt in the woods doing bigfooting as much as I can.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
Do all that fun stuff, I'm
Even
trying.
I've heard this on other podcasts, and it's something that I've been thinking about recently as well. Even time seems strange at the moment. I don't know if you'd agree, but it feels like the days are a lot shorter than they used to be. And I don't know if that's just me. I am busy. You're busy as well. We're all busy, but
Yeah.
it does feel like time's just flying at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. So something that I've noticed is at night, and some people will say I'm crazy, right? Because they'll be like, oh, the moon's always like that. When I go outside at night, like I know the moon should be in a certain place at that time of night. Like the night before, it was like here, like tonight, like the next night, it's like way over there at the same time. It just doesn't make sense. And so that's kind of like me gauging, wow, I think I just went into a different timeline or something. I know that sounds wild,
Oh,
and some people may say
interesting.
I'm totally wrong, but I do
Interesting.
notice little things that are just kind of off. And I know I'm not totally crazy. Okay, I might be a little crazy, but I'm not totally crazy.
We're all a little bit
And I
crazy.
do, we're all a little crazy, but I do notice like when little things are off. And I think that, and just like I said earlier with the Mandela effect, like we're noticing, I think that's step number one is recognizing what's going on around us and recognizing the shifts,
Yeah.
recognizing when things are different and off so that once you're consciously aware of it, maybe we can change it, or strive towards something that's better. It's when people are in the dark and they don't know any better and they just keep their heads in their phones. They're facing their phone all day.
Yeah.
We've got so much like fear being pumped into society. We have so much just it's fight or flight all the time.
Yes.
It's always like survival. It's like we have to survive. We're not thriving. We're surviving because we're put in
100%.
under so much stress and pressure every day,
Yeah.
and sadness and all these wars going on. It's like when you finally turn your TV off, life gets so much better. Okay.
100%. 100%. And
Yeah.
that's definitely done on purpose by the powers that be,
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
is.
100%. There's
Man, I'm
no
just trying to time travel, man. I just want to
yeah,
time
let's
travel.
go. But you're absolutely right, though. I mean, I personally, I've don't watch the news anymore, mainstream news. And when I do, and if I do ever catch me watching it for 10 minutes or whatever, I get annoyed very quickly because I can
Oh,
see straight away now what they're doing. Like, and and it's hard because I've got family members and friends that don't think the conspiracy side of things, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion and
yeah,
beliefs, but they think I'm crazy. I don't think
yeah.
I'm crazy.
No, I think the only person that I know personally that still watches the news is my grandmother.
Yeah,
She's 92. Okay.
yeah,
And I think my uncles have gone over to her house and like made it where she can't watch particular news agency shows anymore.
yeah.
So they like put a lock on it. She's like, why can't I find CNN? She's like, where's this?
You don't need to
Like,
know.
CNN's not on my TV anymore. We're like, Grandma, you're just missing it. It's there. No, it's gone. We locked it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Nice.
she would sit there and just worry all day if we didn't do that,
Yeah,
because
for
that's where she
sure.
gets the news.
Yeah, because that's all it is, pretty much. The news is it's just bad. It's just constant
It
bad
is.
drumming down
They're
and
they're they're not going to tell us about this cool stuff that you and I are talking about today.
for sure.
We're
Yeah.
never going to hear about any of this on the news.
No.
And, and the fact that I get to go out there and experience this firsthand on my own with a bunch of my friends or a bunch of people I don't know the majority of those people yet.
Yeah. That's
There's a bunch of
cool.
people that are cool. But yeah, it's going out there, it's doing hands-on, like boots on the ground kind of stuff, and experiencing it. And hopefully I'll be back to tell everybody about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I hope.
So you said this happens every 20 years.
20 years, yeah. I guess it's April or not April, August 12th of every 20 years. Yeah. So it won't happen again until 2043.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to be an old lady then. So I
No.
got to go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 20 more years. Shoot. I'll be an old lady. I'll be getting AARP stuff in the mail. That's for sure. So,
So
yeah.
does the boat just reappear? Is that what people are seeing?
That's the word on the street. Yeah. They say okay, so the boat's supposed to reappear. The men who are, I guess, the Duncan brothers and Edward Cameron, who this Al Balick claims to be, by the way, that wrote that book. So allegedly they are seen, or they could potentially, the Duncan brothers potentially could be coming into town wearing their sailor outfits, right? And wearing their sailor outfits and going into, there's a library and a cafe that they went to the first time they came. They say that they may come back and like, I guess, I don't know. I mean, if they've already come before 1983,
Yeah.
I don't know how it happened again. I guess it's just like a time loop. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Just like a time loop kind of thing. So so we were talking about like, okay, this is wild, right? We're talking about having people post it up in like the cafe and having people post it up in the library to see if a sailor walks in.
Yeah.
Like a man in like a 1940s sailor outfit. Yeah.
Interesting. So when people are seeing these guys, are they obviously just full bodied? They're actually there.
Solid. They're there. Yeah. Should be. That's what I heard. So we're gonna find out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And this obviously this took place, he said 1943. So they were doing stuff like this
1943.
in
Yes.
1943. I mean,
Yeah.
that's mind blowing as well.
Okay. Well, they say that the technology that our governments have, or whoever has, is like 100 years ahead, at least 100 years ahead of what they show us.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's with all the military aircraft. I mean, so people talk about like crashed UFOs and you know, us taking the technology and reverse engineering it and stuff like that. They've been doing that since the early 1900s. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, imagine, I mean, that's over 100 years. About 100 years now they've been doing that at least. And I think they were doing it way before that.
Yeah. But I mean, if you look at the technology me and you have got now, like the things we can do with this and the computers and stuff, and so yeah, they must have. This is nothing to them, probably.
Well, and if they are utilizing like interdimensional travel, okay, and portals, okay, so we have Earth's natural portals, and we also have man-made portals like stargates and things like that too. I mean, cryptids, okay, so this is where like my cryptid stuff comes in, is like people are always asking me like, where do Bigfoots go at night when they're, or not at night, or like daytime, whenever, where do they go? Like they're just, it's like they just disappear. Well, maybe they're going into these portals because a lot of them are ancient beings. If they have been here for even longer than most humans, they would know where to access, where and how to access those portals to travel. Okay.
Yeah.
So why not? I mean, I'm going to be with the people that were part of the secret space program as well. And I know not everybody believes in that, or they don't know for sure. A lot of people say it could just be like MK Ultra mind control, and that's something they did at the Montauk Project. And I think a lot of the people who were enslaved, let's call it like it is, they were enslaved in the secret space program. I'm personally friends with several of those guys and women that were part of that program. And yeah, yeah, I know. Those are the people I'm going to be with this week. But if they were actually taken to the moon to be slaves on the moon, you know, and like I said, the cryptid stuff interacts or intermingles with all this because, well, I said that the Bigfoots may be using these portals, but if our government, okay, and this includes the UK, because one of my friends was actually stationed at the UK, okay, in the secret space program. My buddy Daryl actually was. They're using these portals, these stargates, these jump rooms to go to Mars and to the moon and to TRAPPIST-1 and to all these different star systems throughout the planet. Okay. So, and they've been doing this since the beginning of time, apparently.
Yeah. So do you think on the moon and things like that now, there are people working on the moon now?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I do. I think it's not just humans. I think it's like ETs and humanoids and all that. Okay, so like the only time I've ever gotten that proverbial knock at my door, right? Because I put out a lot of cool information, right? And I have my remote viewing show that I do every Thursday, and I used to do it on Fridays. And I knew better. As a remote viewer, we're told do not remote view the moon. Okay, that's like one of those things that's off limits. You don't remote view it, or if you do, you don't talk about it. Okay.
Wow.
You don't talk about it publicly. And so what did I do? I got really comfortable in what I was doing. And I was getting a really good response. And so I decided to remote view the moon.
Wow.
And I put it on, and I was doing a live show. And about 2 hours before.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So you was doing the show and you remote viewed to the moon live?
No, I don't remote view live ever because
Okay.
it's a process. I have to be by myself, basically not by myself, but in a room, totally quiet with nothing to hinder me or distract me. And so I'm not able to do it live ever. I don't ever remote view live. Okay,
Okay.
but I had remote viewed the Apollo 11 moon landing. Okay, because I wanted to know if it was real. Okay, and everybody, because we've got Stanley Kubrick claiming that he had filmed in a studio, like the U.S. The astronauts landing on the moon, and so I had remote viewed that, and I was about to go live on my show, and about 2 hours before, I got the proverbial knock at my door, and I was told to keep my mouth shut. Yeah,
Wow. What actually,
yeah.
like, could someone come to your house?
No, I got a message. I was contacted by somebody.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
and it was somebody that I was like, okay, yeah, I was basically told that I had a lot of people watching me, and I already knew I
Wow.
had been watched. I was actually contacted as well by someone later on, um, and informed that my channel is banned at the Pentagon here in the United States. Yeah, so
Wow.
I have, but for whatever other reason, I've also been allowed to talk about all the stuff that I do in my remote viewing. I
Yeah.
have been blessed to be able to put as much information out there as I have so far.
Wow. I've
And I'm
got
not
so many
suicidal
questions.
either.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I'm
not
glad.
suicidal.
I'm glad. I've got so many questions for you right now. So that
Okay.
can I ask you first, did we land on the moon? I've got a did we?
We've been on we're on the moon right now, I believe. I
So
can't, I mean,
the
I
Apollo
can't get
7,
into details of all that, but I can say we have been to the moon. Yes, we've been to the moon. Now, what is the moon and how do we get there? I think it's something else to look into, and everyone should do your own research on that. But yeah, there are bases on the moon. I believe there are humans up there. There are humanoids, I guess you can call them, aliens, ETs, whatever. But yeah, there's something up there. The moon is not what we think it is.
yeah, for
It is what
sure.
some of us think it is.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
love it.
yeah,
Wow. So
yeah.
when you can I ask you what you saw when you remote viewed there?
No, because I'll get in trouble.
Oh really? Oh, you're not gonna say okay,
I
that's cool.
I saw well I saw that people had gone there. Yes, there were
Okay.
humans that were up there. Yeah, I can tell
Yeah.
you that.
Wow.
Now I can also, what I can say is that it's not exactly what they say it was. And I was okay. So what I did that night was I actually had a lot of pictures prepared to show the audience that night, and so it was like, let's just say it was pictures of like Buzz Aldrin with his like Illuminati fingers over his eye.
Yeah.
So if that gives you any idea,
Yeah, for
that's kind
sure.
of where it was going. Yeah, it's
Interesting.
we have to. I think it's important for us to start questioning like what they're showing, especially with NASA, and
Yeah.
just question everything. I mean, somebody sent me a video today, and it was everything's like CGI now. Okay, like everything, even town hall meetings that they're trying to make it out like those are authentic meetings, and you go look, and it's like the same person sitting in different areas around this auditorium. It's like all
Yes.
computer generated people.
Yeah, I've
So
seen that. And
weird.
it literally looks 100% real, but there's like four people that are exactly the same in the crowd.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
so strange.
But then once you start realizing that that's not real, you start thinking about, well, what about these huge events like when the 9/11 towers were hit? You know, were those even real airplanes? Stuff
Yeah.
like that. I know that sounds horrible, and I don't mean to like disrespect what anyone who had anyone that passed away. I mean, some people died.
Yeah, yeah,
People absolutely
yeah,
died. That was a real event, but
yeah, for
did it
sure.
happen like we were told, or was there some manipulation there?
Yeah,
In some way.
yeah,
So
for
yeah, that's
sure.
where these can be dangerous, especially when I'm remote viewing because I see the real deal. And so when I'm reporting what I'm seeing, it puts me at risk.
Yeah,
Because I think now it's not as, to me, like I kind of I'm given an inch and I take like a mile now when it comes to this remote viewing stuff because like I'm just
yeah,
really loving putting my information out there, but there's still a vested interest in trying to keep some of it quiet.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
It can be dangerous for sure.
yeah, a little bit.
I really want to ask you who messaged you, but I won't. Is it? No, I know this. I won't. After we record, I might ask. Oh, this is so interesting. So
Yeah.
interesting. Have you heard of the what's it called? I'm sure you would have heard of this, the 20 and back.
Well, those are what my friends were
Is that
in. James Reed,
okay?
Tony
Okay.
Rodriguez, and Daryl
Yeah.
James. Yeah, they were all a part of that program. Yeah,
Wow. That I
yeah.
find that so
They've
fascinating.
they've told me I've had all of them on my shows except James. I've been on James's show two or three times, and that's who I'm meeting up with this week. But Tony Rodriguez, he and I, like, we were all at a conference together recently, and we all spoke at a conference together. And actually, Daryl James was one of those guys. He was in the U.S. Navy. He was stationed over in the UK, I believe. That's the person I was telling you about. And when I met him at that conference, he came up to me and was like, "Hey, I would love to tell you about some of the human animal hybrids I encountered in those underground facilities." And yeah, I brought him on my show. I have a show, a full show. It was like one of my, I mean, all my shows get a lot of views and stuff. Like, to me, like, it's not like a ton, but to me, it's a lot. That was one of my higher watch shows, actually. That show with him. He told
Interesting.
about uh, one of them was a spider human hybrid that ate the children down there. And he said they just keep kids in cages and stuff, and they feed them to the animal human hybrids. So
Wow.
that's where some of these missing children are going, is down in these facilities
Oh
to
man.
feed those things. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, for
Terrible stuff.
for anyone listening that doesn't know what the 20 and back is,
Uh-huh.
that is where so you're taken as a child and you're on
Mhm.
the moon for 20 years working or anywhere in space. Is that right?
Yes.
Working,
Correct.
and then you come back to your body, and
Mhm.
no time has changed. Is that correct? And then
Correct.
you get these memories that are coming back.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. We've covered so many crazy topics today so far.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
love
gosh.
it. I
So
love it.
So yeah, so Tony actually, so I saw Tony Rodriguez. Well, we all gave presentations, but he gave his live, and he showed a timeline, a chart of his life. Okay, and most of us, it starts down at the bottom and it goes, it's like, goes all the way, like, from 0 to 90, right? Like in a straight line. Well, his was like, I think it was like 12 or so, like when they took him. I mean, he was a little, maybe not, somewhere between 9 and 12, I think. And so his timeline is like, goes up to 12, and then it goes straight up over 20 years and then back down like in a triangle. And then his
Yeah.
life keeps going on after that. So he was taken by the parent of this little boy he had made fun of in school one day. And the father was part of the Illuminati. So he was actually kidnapped. He said it was by some aliens. Like, some aliens came and got him, or what he remembers. I think he's recalled seeing aliens, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
But took him out of his room, and he was gone. I mean, he was literally tortured and used as a slave,
Oh
and put on
man.
the moon. And his latest book is called Project Starmaker, and he was making stars. He was part of like a construction crew which constructed stars in the solar system, like out somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a fascinating story, totally fascinating. And so, yeah, he lived an entire life. I mean, had relationships with like women and things like that, like whatever. I mean, and was a grown man. I mean, he was 30 something years old when they finally sent him back down to be a kid again. And his memories were wiped, and he just slowly started regaining some of his memories of that time. And
Wow.
he talks about it, and he's able to go back and talk about, like, because they had him housed in different buildings across the United States too, like out in the Southwest and stuff. And he and other people have visited those spots, and he recollects like landmarks and things like that, even here and down in South America too. Okay, he was like running drugs and stuff. Like, they were doing drug running and things, like the cartel stuff, and it was part of our government, our military doing it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's what
yeah,
I've heard people talking about it before, and they say it's like, yeah, you are working with other races. There's some people that are sent to like war and stuff like that, and fighting other races and things like. So interesting.
yeah. Yeah, he did that. So, and
Wow.
I think what he told me, what he was telling us was that they taught him remote viewing, okay, like what I do. And so they used him to like be a lookout, remote viewing. I don't quote me on that. I'm not exactly sure that's exactly what he meant by that, but it was something like they used him for his psychic abilities. And I think they did target a lot of children that had psychic abilities, just
Wow.
like the Montauk Project.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. All this stuff seems to be connected, doesn't it?
it
I
is.
mean, oh, it's so interesting. I mean, obviously that is terrifying for any child to go through that.
Yeah.
I mean, did so when he was taken, did he stayed as a kid and obviously grew up
Hmm.
to be a man in that time. So he's got all
Yeah.
those memories, all those years, and then to just be sent back. I mean, that's
Yeah. Well, and you got to factor in also there's like a cloning program too. So they're taking some of these people too and they're cloning them. And like and maybe sending their clones back. I mean, I don't know. That we've had that discussion too.
yeah,
So that's like a whole other topic. Like you could do a whole show on cloning.
yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
So he believes he could possibly be like a clone version of himself.
I don't know about Tony. Some of the other ones said they could be. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Tony thinks that, but I think maybe some of the other guys do. Yeah.
So interesting.
I mean, we could all be clones. I don't know. Who knows? At this point, I don't know what it is. I don't know
For
what's
sure,
real.
for sure. It's as we've said before, the more you go into these rabbit holes, the more questions you have. You know, we're never
Oh
going to
my
get
God.
there.
Yeah, I think I feel like we go into like portals or something. It's like not even a rabbit hole anymore. It's like I've dived down a portal. I don't know where I'm at. It's fun though. It's fun. I mean,
It is fun.
yeah, I always said that I was like, oh, when I die, I'll find out the truth about everything. Like there will be no more mysteries in this world. But you know what? Like, why wait till we're dead? Let's find out
Yeah,
now.
for sure. For
Let's
sure.
find out now. That's
Yeah.
the way
And
I look at life.
let's enjoy learning it and
Yeah,
trying to find out. That's how I see it.
yeah.
Do you, this
So
is
that's
going off subject a little bit. You got friends that are like, don't believe any of this stuff. And you talk to them about it and they're like, they're just not having it. Do you get friends like, because I've got quite a lot of friends that I know look at me
um,
crazy when I'm telling them this stuff.
okay. So this is interesting. The friends that I had that looked at me like I was crazy, we've all kind of like we're vibrating on different frequencies. And so I don't not that I'm not still friends with those people, but like I just where I'm going and what I'm doing, like I don't talk to people about that anymore. If they're not
Yeah.
on that vibe, then I'm just kind of like, meh. That's
Yeah.
why I'm kind of a loner. Like I get to go out and do a whole lot of fun stuff now because like I don't worry about what people think. And if people don't want to talk about it or believe it, I just don't have a conversation about it with
Yeah.
anybody like that.
Yeah,
I
for
ain't, I
sure.
ain't got time for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's where I am as well. To be honest, that's where I don't
yeah,
care what like anyone's entitled to think what they want to think. But yeah,
right. Everybody, but you know what? It's more fun having an open mind and not looking down on people for believing the things that they believe, and that's why they're entitled to have their opinions too and believe what they believe. Um, but you know, I'm not going to say, but I know the truth because I don't know what the truth is. Honestly, I know my truth, and I think that if the more you know, the less you really know about this stuff. And so I I try to keep a sense of humor about it all because that's all we can do is just kind of laugh and um, just go with the flow and be
yeah,
open to learning new things and be open to experiencing new things. And I put myself in the position all the time I mean, it's dangerous what I'm doing. Okay. A lot of this
yeah,
stuff. It's dangerous being out in the field and having portals open up and people on my team walking into them and us documenting it. It's dangerous going up to Montauk and watching for this portal to open up. Like, you know, but it's also interesting and it's fun. And
yeah,
I haven't been hurt yet. So
yeah. Oh, for
uh,
sure. I'm with you. I'm with you for sure. It's awesome stuff what you do, and obviously you've had some incredible experiences. And once you have experiences yourself, you know that the possibilities are endless because you've seen it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm just waiting for the next fun thing to happen. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you've got a fun weekend coming up for sure.
I
I would
do.
love to come to that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, well, you know, they actually had it opened up to pretty much anybody that wanted to come, and but it's mostly people that are potentially were part of that project, you know. And I think people that really resonate with that will are the ones that are coming to that. And James had been putting that out on he's got a great channel. It's called Super Soldier Talk over on YouTube, and he's been demonetized. He's got like more viewers or more subscribers than anybody I know, but he's been completely demonetized.
Wow.
So I know he's not doing it for the money. I can promise you that, because
Yeah.
he's not making any money off his channel. But
Interesting.
but he's got a story, man. He's written books, and it's very interesting. And yes, absolutely, the people in the secret space program definitely all went through MK Ultra mind control. There's no doubt about that. And so some people question, like, well, are their stories real? They believe they are,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
For sure. And when
yeah.
you say when like people getting demonetized and stuff like that, when they've got a lot of views and they should be paid just like anyone else,
Mhm.
I find that so like why all the stuff we're allowed to put on the internet, and why do they pick certain people and take away that? I just
Because they're
obviously we
putting the
know
truth
why,
out.
because they're putting the truth out. Yeah, for
It's
sure.
the truth. Well, and he has such a big audience, and the stuff that those people are putting out there, a lot of them, like James, it's it's going to change the consciousness of people on Earth. Okay, it's raising the consciousness, and it's making people question authority and question reality. Okay, and
Yeah,
that's why.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's why my
Interesting.
channel's banned at the Pentagon. I guess I don't know.
That's crazy. That is crazy, but
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting
That
stuff.
was told firsthand by someone who works there. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So
Crazy
you're
stuff.
obviously hitting on some subject, obviously, that they don't want you talking about.
Yeah. But I am talking about it. And for whatever reason, I do feel it's my calling to do this, because I have been taught how to remote view. I have the ability to do it. Why not utilize that and share it with the world?
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm not always right. Okay. I don't claim to know everything. I honestly don't know anything. But whatever kind of information I get and the data that I get, I'm willing to put it out there and to share it with the world, you know. So and it's just really fun for me. It's my favorite hobby. I like doing
Yeah,
that.
it's awesome. It's awesome what you do. So keep doing what you're doing, because it is awesome.
It's good. It's cool. It's all right.
I'm trying to think of what else we have. You heard the recent what's going on in Peru at the moment?
Oh my gosh. You know
What's
what? I did hear about that. Was I? Were you and I on a show together the other night? We're talking about that. Something
Yeah,
came across the screen, and I was like, "Wait, there's aliens attacking people in Peru." Okay. Um, I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about it. My friend Christina Gomez just put a little video, a little blurb out on Instagram that I just saw right before we went live on this recording, and she was kind of gave an overview of it. So there's, I guess, like a village in Peru. They're saying that like 7 foot tall uh humanoids. They look like aliens. They're calling them aliens. I think they were wearing green suits. I don't know if they're attacking those people or what.
that's
It
what
sounded like they
people are
were being
saying.
attacked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that
So who knows?
that's. I mean, the people are putting videos out there. I know, as you said earlier, we can't we can't trust everything we're seeing now, and I think that's done on purpose as well. But
Yeah.
it's so interesting.
They're trying to keep us confused, is what that
Yeah,
is. They're trying to make us confused so we don't know the difference between real and fake, reality and something that's made up. Okay. It's just like with this like CGI stuff, with deep fakes, with I don't know. The deep fake stuff has got me worried. I'm like, what the heck?
yeah, yeah,
It's hard to know what's real. And it's just like with those things, like what I was saying with the holograms. Okay. And questioning even the 9/11 twin towers getting hit, things like that. You know, because they're putting out these holograms, like in Las Vegas, Nevada, here in the US. Um, there was somebody that was flying over. downtown Las Vegas. I was just in Las Vegas about a month ago. Okay. Two
Oh,
months ago, I guess. And was flying. You fly over it and like it looks like a gigantic can of something comes out of the ground and it looks real. Okay. That's a hologram. They're using this holographic technology, which some say is going to be used for the I'm going to say deep fake, but the fake UFO invasion or whatever. I mean,
yeah.
I've even had people send me pictures that were allegedly, I always say allegedly, so I don't get in trouble. They were allegedly from Boeing here in the US, and it was a hangar full of UFOs. It looked like UFOs, but they were man-made, obviously. Okay. But I mean, is that like a staging area for what's coming? Are they using those right now? I don't know, but they had a hangar full of them.
That's it. Because these holograms that are, I've seen videos of them, and I'm looking at them, and are you actually seeing that? Like, is that actually, how do they do? I can't understand how they do it.
Well, well, we live in the matrix, basically. It's almost like we live in a computer program, I
Yeah.
think, and I think that's part of it. Did you see the one where they had the orcas? It was like whales,
Yes.
and they were swimming around the town and like
Yeah.
coming out of a little fountain. It
Yeah.
was just weird,
I was just
so
watching it. I was like,
crazy.
are these people there actually seeing that, or is that like computer generated? I didn't know. But it just
Yeah,
looks. I mean, yeah, if they can do that, they can do
there's
anything.
they're seeing it. I mean, I'm sure you could put your hand right through it if you walked up to it. It's a hologram, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, I watched a show called Jim and the Holograms. I think they were getting us ready. It was predictive programming kind of stuff,
Yeah.
holographic stuff, because we live in a holographic universe, from what some people say. I believe that. I think that we do. I think that we're able to change our vibrational frequency and we can change what timeline we're in. Okay, we're talking about timelines again. Okay, and it's raising our vibration, raising the vibrational frequency of the planet. Okay, letting go of fear and sadness and dropping all the traumas and things that are holding us down and bringing us down vibrationally and going high, like taking it up a notch and getting to a higher timeline, because there's different timelines, and I think that's what the Mandela effect is. Like, people are on different timelines, and
Yeah.
then like we all merge, and like you and I are on the same timeline right now. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're sitting here talking to each other, we're on the same timeline, but I might go to bed, I'll wake up, I'm on a different timeline tomorrow. Okay, and things are just slightly different on that timeline.
Yeah.
And that's why, and so when I say like the timeline shift, there's timeline shifts. There was a timeline split in 2020. Okay, my buddy Frank Jacobs talks about this sometimes. I had him on my show. He talked about, he's got a film. He's a filmmaker, and it's called A Tale of Two Timelines. He's based in Germany, by the way, and he was like, okay, in 2020, like the timeline split, and it was like people pretty much made a decision on what side of the fence they were on, with like the COVID stuff, people getting sick, and like people getting locked down and bowing down to authority, and then the others that are like, kiss my butt.
Yeah.
It was like that kind of a thing, and it was kind of like everything split, and we all took sides,
Yeah. Yeah.
and in a way, and there was not a whole lot of gray area there. Okay,
Yeah.
because that was basically a timeline split, and it
Yeah.
hasn't stopped since then. And at this point, I think a lot of people are we trying to bring as many people up to the higher timeline as possible, because there's a lot of people that are going to choose to stay on the lower timeline. Okay, with all
Yeah.
that stuff. I know that sounds weird. I don't
No,
know.
not at all.
I may be
Not at
talking in
all.
circles today, but
No, I'm
uh,
with you. I'm with you.
yeah.
I was on the kick my butt side. Kick my butt.
Okay, you can kiss my butt. I'm not
Kiss
doing
my
that
butt. That's
stuff.
the side I was on for sure.
Me too.
And I still can't believe. I mean, we could talk all day about that time period. It was
Yeah.
obviously the craziest time ever. But it's
Looking back, it was so absurd though, right? Like
I
all of it
still
was just like,
I still
what?
can't
Like, what is
believe it.
happening?
I mean, it changed everything for me, to be honest. Like I saw the world completely differently. I've always had a bit of a conspiracy mind, but that was it for me.
Well, it was like the veil lifted, okay? And it was like you either saw it or you didn't,
Yeah,
okay? And you saw everything just got so absurd at that point, like you didn't have a choice but to see it. right there in front of your face.
Yeah.
And so that's where you could kind of tell. And there's no shade on anybody, y'all. If anybody's listening or watching, there's no shade
Yeah.
as to what side you took, or you're taking now or whatever. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah,
It
for
is what
sure.
it is.
For sure.
And the veil came off and people were able to see. Like, I got a divorce in 2020. Okay. Like, when they say the veil lifted, I think the veil lifted in a lot of ways. Like, people, it was something in the vibrational frequency of the earth, of the planet. It got to be where secrets and things that were hidden from us were exposed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
it's on a personal level, and it's on a global level too.
Yes. Yeah.
Community level, all that. And that
Yeah.
happened. And that's part of this timeline split. It's part of the timelines changing. It's part of the earth pulling the dimensions apart and like the dimensions shifting. It was just, it's not it was not the beginning of that, but it was like an apex of it. Like, we're shifting now.
Yeah.
Timelines are splitting now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I've said it on the show before, but that timeline, as you said, it changed everyone. Personally,
Yeah.
it changed me for sure, like for the better, I would say. I'd like to
Yeah,
think
me
anyway.
too.
I think it made me, because it was such an easy time, and it still is, to get negative and to let it bring you down. And it did for a
Oh,
little while for me. For the first couple of months that all happened, it did bring me down. And then I was like, you know what? And then I've never been more positive in my life ever since. So that's it.
I know, me
I
too.
take it as a positive.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of us were in a very dark place. And I was in such a horrible dark place, like with even my marriage and like going through some stuff where like I needed something to just change. You know what I mean? And to be able to spend like a year with just me and my son away from like the craziness of what my life had been, it was very positive, because I think it was it was almost like it was meant to happen like that, so that those of us that had been in strange, weird predicaments, not on our life path, we were able to actually sit with ourselves and heal. Okay, go through like a healing process, learn new things, do things we would never do before because we didn't have time. Okay, like write a book. I learned to read tarot cards. Okay, like I taught myself stuff. I was able to sit at home and like kind of homeschool my son for the first time. And like, I mean, he was doing like digital learning from, and stuff like that, but like to spend quality time with our families and people that meant, some people got stuck with people they didn't like, I think, in their houses.
Yeah.
And my heart goes out to all y'all that had to be stuck with people that sucked. Okay.
Yeah.
But in my situation, it was good. And I think that it was just like a time for us to recalibrate as humans, you
Yeah.
know, and sit with ourselves, sit with our traumas, and start to heal it. And it was a choice. It was a
Yeah.
choice for me. I chose to, reset my life and go farther. And I know at that time I would never see myself sitting on a podcast talking to you right now. I would have never done that
Wow.
before if I had not gone through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it's meant to be.
Yeah.
And when you think it's not that long ago either, really. I mean, it's only 3 years ago.
3
It's like,
years. I know, right?
yeah,
But it's amazing how fast, how quickly life can change for the better or
for
for the
sure.
worse. I mean, tomorrow, I mean, everything could change in a blink of an eye
Yeah.
tomorrow. Like those timelines could shift,
Yeah. Yeah. It's so
but
interesting that it's had that, and it's you put it down to, is that what made you get into, you think, of doing the shows and stuff like that? That's cool.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I had gone through so much like abuse and like trauma and all this weird stuff that I didn't even know how I got there. Okay. I was just like, I can't even believe this is my life. Um, I finally, something happened that was just so bad. I had to like file for divorce and like that week is when the lockdowns happened here. And
Wow.
right, I mean, it was like the next day that I filed for
Wow.
divorce and stuff. So it was like it all just happened in like perfect timing in a way. And I was a prepper, if like I had already been like stockpiling food and like groceries, and we had a toilet paper shortage. I already had toilet paper in my house. I had all that stuff. So I was ready. Like I knew I was preparing for something. Deep down, I knew that I was prepared, but I just didn't know what it was. And so I was, yeah, it was all like just my higher self knew. Okay.
Yeah.
My soul knew there was something coming, and my life was about to change drastically. And so, yeah, I started on a self-healing journey by myself. It was just me. And I found like YouTube channels were like very uplifting, like spiritual messages, like tarot readers and stuff. That I found one in particular who I started following, and her name is Mary Jo. Shout out to Mary Jo. I love that woman. But it was very uplifting, and it just sat with my soul. Like it resonated. Okay. And so, and I was learning by watching her, like how to do, like to tap into my spirituality a little bit more, because I was already a remote viewer. I was already out in the woods doing Bigfoot stuff, but I knew there was something more. I just resonated at the time with it.
Yeah.
And so she was encouraging everybody watching. She was like, it's time for you guys to go out and do your own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way I'd ever do that. No way. And I started reading tarot cards and oracle cards for other people for fun, for free. And I was noticing that I was really good at it, and I was really making an impact on those people's lives, and for the positive. And I started getting, I got overwhelmed because I had so many people wanting to connect with me on that, and I had to like start protecting my energy and like back away from it a little bit because it was so much. And so I decided, well, instead of doing personal one-on-one stuff, since I'm doing it for free basically anyways, why don't I just put it on YouTube? And so I started a YouTube channel, and I was
Awesome.
my videos, my first videos are still on my YouTube channel to this day. I have not gone back and watched them, but that was in 2021. It's only 2023,
Yeah.
but and now I've got my own radio show. I've got it's
Yeah. You're
falling in
doing
my
a
lap.
great job, and
Yeah,
you've not been doing it
thank
long
you.
at all. Wow.
2021. Yeah. And
That's
I actually just
impressive.
I hit 4,000 subscribers this weekend.
Yeah, that's
So
so cool. Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
You're doing an amazing job. I didn't
Thank
realize you've
you.
been doing it that long. It's not long at all. So
Oh,
wow, that's
yeah.
awesome.
But yeah, it was something I didn't see myself doing, but I knew that I wanted to help people. And if that helped me get through my darkest days and my hardest times, I knew that I could do the same for somebody else. And
Yeah.
I think that it made a big impact on a lot of people. And so here I am today. Like I literally never saw myself doing any of this online, talking about things publicly. I mean, it took me 10 years to go public about my Bigfoot research. So yeah, and now I
That's
mean I could fly all over the country talking at conferences and stuff now, and I
yeah,
mean
that's so
it's
cool.
awesome. Yeah,
That is
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
And
It's
that's
fun. But it's just getting on your life path. Once you get there, and like you're doing what you're here to do, like what you're meant to do, like things
yeah,
fall into place.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. As I said before, you put out your vibe, you find your tribe. And
Oh man,
that
do you?
happens. That
Yeah,
happens.
yeah,
It's so interesting. That's awesome that you've only been doing it that long.
yeah.
Because and you had to go through that dark period, but it sort of put you onto the great work that you're
Yeah.
doing now.
That's right. I would never have done this before.
Yeah,
Thank you, COVID.
yeah. Do you know it's weird because I put the same. I think that's why I'm doing the show as well, because of that period. It changed everything for me. I moved out of. I used to live in London. I now live in the countryside a bit further away from London, and that was because of that. I'm doing the show because of that. So I had a similar sort of effect
Yeah,
on me as well. So
yeah. I think a lot of people have that same story. A
yeah,
lot of us. Yeah.
yeah. So as
Because
you,
we gotta help get this earth out of another dimension. So,
yeah, on the
so we've been
positive,
activated. We're
yeah.
activated. So we're here to
Awesome
activate
stuff.
others now.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Oh, Jessica, thank you so much for sharing that. That was awesome.
for sure.
Uh,
I don't talk about that very much. So you got a world exclusive right there.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, that is
Thank you.
cool. And it's because as you said as well, like with the Bigfoot stuff that you used to do, it's hard to talk to people about stuff like that when you don't know that they're knowers as well. I'll say
Yeah.
because people do look at you strange, obviously, and
Yeah.
as you say, your friends that are not into it, you do drift apart a little bit. But I was always quite scared to talk about this sort of stuff to friends. Like I've got friends that probably even now don't know that I've had the experiences that I've had because I don't talk about it. And now I find it like you, we're talking about it, to everyone that's prepared to listen.
Right.
So it is
Everyone who's
cool.
meant to hear it. Yeah. Everybody who's meant to hear it. I mean, my friends used to make fun of me. And so when they would ask me about my Bigfooting, like, is Bigfoot real? And I'd always just say, well, why don't you go find out? You can come with me, but I would never really give an answer too much because I knew they were just going to make fun of me more.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I just, that's why I was quiet about it. And I didn't go public until 2021, I guess. I was asked to speak at a conference and I hesitantly spoke. Like I was like, okay, I guess. I did it for a friend. I was like, all right. And then it was like immediately, like things just went crazy. Like life got really crazy after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a good way. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool. And for all the friends that took the mic or whatever, Bigfoot is real. Aliens are
Yeah.
real. It's all real. So more for them.
It's all real, man.
It's all
It's
real.
all real.
It's all
It's
real.
real in my reality. I don't know. I mean, everybody's got their own reality they live in. And that sounds really like a weird answer, right? If anybody asked me a question, I'd be like, well, that's my reality, you know.
Yeah, but you've experienced it. You've seen stuff yourself. So,
all of it. Yeah.
as we've spoken before, there's people that don't see anything in their life because they're not in that, what's the word? They're not seeing that frequency. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's it. They're not on that frequency.
And that's okay. They're not meant to be in that frequency, I think.
Yeah.
Not everybody's meant to see all this stuff, I don't think.
Yeah.
So we're all here doing different things. We all have different jobs. We all have different missions, I guess you could say. And some of us are just meant to see it.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
for
what I think.
sure. And that's why I think so many people like it's like if you have an experience, chances are you're going to have another experience because you're open to it. And you're, as we've said before, you're seeing that frequency.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully I'll be seeing a big old ship coming through a portal this week.
Yeah. Let us know. We want to know. We'll be following you. And
oh my gosh.
Can you tell the listeners where they can find you?
Yeah, of course. I am at thecryptidhuntress.com. Okay, that's my website. All of my shows are posted there. I also have a YouTube channel. That's the Cryptid Huntress, where I just hit 4,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. And also, you can find I have a daytime show there. If you guys are in the UK or anywhere else, it's probably nighttime show. But yeah, I have a show on Wednesdays. I have a show on Thursdays on my channel, and then Saturday and Sunday nights, which would be like your time over in the UK. It's like 3 a.m. But I have a nighttime radio show there. It's on YouTube, Spaced Out Radio. Off the Trails is what it's called. So, and it's all about cryptids and weird time travel, timeline stuff, cryptids, whatever. It's a mixed bag. So we have fun over there. But
it's
yeah,
awesome.
thank you.
It's awesome. And I will share all your links in the show description so people can find you easily. And thank you so much. You're welcome back on Let's Get Freaky anytime. And hopefully you'll be back soon with some experiences that you could possibly have this weekend. We're excited to hear what happens.
Thank you, Tommy. This has been really fun. I appreciate you having me back on. I'll let you know what happens.
Much. Thank you very much.
Posted. Okay.
Awesome. I'll speak to you soon.
All right. See y'all.